So let's get to it. And I guess the biggest thing again that keeps coming up, and I want to hone in on this and give you some architecture now, is that Google is the biggest player in this space. And out of 100 people, like I said, that are looking to book, 85 of them are going to go online. Of that 85, we know that 77%, or what we call 66 of that original 100 people, will be on Google. So if you want to talk about Pareto, 66% of all people that are doing travel research are on Google. So that is the first place that we start. We get you and your hotel optimized for Google. But to help you with that, I need to give you a little bit of architecture around how Google operates, because with 6.5 billion searches a day, it's so important that we get this right. So I want to walk you through that. Google is the biggest player here, but if you're familiar, you may or may not be familiar with first page results. And the saying goes that if you're not on first page, you might as well be dead. Or what's the saying go? Sorry, I got that wrong, Masood. You might want to cut this out.
That's right.
If you're familiar with Google first page and search results and how they operate, there's a saying that is often joked about that what's the best place to hide a dead body? And that's on the second page of Google. And you may or may not have chuckled at that little pun, but what it's pointing towards is that how many of us actually get to a first page result, and if we're not finding a page that's hitting our needs from the search result we put in, rather than punching through to page 2 and checking out the research results there, we're more than likely going to do another search term and try again. So the goal is to get on the first page, and what I want to do now is walk you through the structure of page 1 Google search results, so you really understand what's happening there. So the first thing is, and we'll zoom in on the slides here to help you out. I might even conduct a live search here in a minute just to really show you. But in that, when you put in a search term, and in this example I've searched accommodation Sydney. I've got some screenshots here. Basically, the first 4 search results are what we call paid advertising. They're or PPC, pay per click. Usually comes out, or this comes out of Google AdWords, and most people are aware of this now because they actually have got the little ad symbol there. You can see the little green ad symbol, so they're telling us that this is an ad. But I guess the point is here, you can actually pay to be in the top search results. If you've got a big enough budget, you can actually pay to be there. So you can be position 1, 2, 3, or 4. They allocate 4 spots at the top there for paid advertisers to be there. So based upon a certain search query that people put in, you can be there if you pay enough money. Now, if nobody's advertising for a certain search term, no ads will appear, or only maybe one ad will appear. And therefore, everything else slides up the screen a little bit. But that's the paid advertising section. Now, with that, if you do any search, and I'll do one in a minute, what you'll find is that you probably haven't got a big enough budget to compete with who's advertising that space, because the people that are advertising that space is typically Booking.com, Expedia, What If, TripAdvisor, and it goes on and on and on. All the big boys are dominating that space. Unless you're in some peculiar location, you might have a chance to actually get yourself up there. And there's a couple of things around this, that if you can afford to spend a budget there and actually rank and get in the top 4 positions, that's fine. But then every time somebody clicks on that ad, you pay an amount that you're bidding for. Now that could be $1, it could be $4, it could be $10 to actually get that click. And that's okay, but then a click doesn't actually guarantee that they're going to book. A click just takes them to the website, and then they go through the whole conversion on your website. So if it takes 10 people to visit your website and 1 person books, and you're paying $10 an ad, it costs you $100 to get that booking. So you can see how quickly it can become unviable to actually be advertising up there. Don't rule it out. In some situations we can do it for certain search terms and in certain situations. But understand that if you want to be at the top of the list, you can get there if you're prepared to pay. an important point here, but that the consumer's mindset has changed in the fact that once upon a time, or over time, people click less and less on that section because they understand it's advertising. And who, out of any of us, trust ads? Nobody, or not nobody. Sometimes we click on it because we know that it's an ad, but it's probably relevant, so we'll give it a go. But the statistics tell us that at one stage it was only 20% of people were clicking on the ads. And I've got some evidence further in the slides coming up that this has now shrunk down to 5%. So between 5 and 20% of people will click on those top 4 positions. So you may be at the top, but because people understand now that it's advertising, they're unlikely to click on it. So the good news is organic search results, which is from that point down, that's what we call organic. So you don't have to pay to be there. It's based upon Google's algorithm. They put forward what they think is going to be the most relevant search result. So you don't pay for that there, and you've got at least 80, perhaps even 95% of people clicking below that first section of Google called paid advertising section. The second section is what I call, it's either called the Google local search function, the Google Maps area, or the Google Hotel Finder. It's often found. We call it commonly the 3-pack. As you can see what it's doing there, it brings up a map. The reason why it brings up a map is because one of two things have happened. Either a location name has been included in the search term, or a term related to accommodation, like accommodation or motel, hotel, has been included in the search term. And so it brings this Google local search function up. Well, if you search something a lot more abstract, unrelated to location, well then this whole 3-pack, this local search piece, the whole section would disappear, it wouldn't be there. And again, it would slide up. So you get the Google local search function. Now, what can happen here is, well, to us, this is the best hack that you can do to increase your online visibility. Remembering you've got so many people going to Google, if you can appear in that 3-pack, if you can be in the 1, 2, 3, which is position 5, 6 or 7, wow, you are on first page and what we call above the fold. So you can see on a screen, basically what you've got above the fold, let me just quickly explain that, is on a search page, depending on the dimensions and the resolution and everything, ratios that you've got on your screen, you don't see the whole page. You've got to scroll down to see the rest. So the same, above the fold is what you see on your screen before you begin to scroll. So that's above the fold. So typically, Google local search, or being in the Google Hotel Finder section, enables you to be above the fold. And they put 3 spots there. And again, it's organic, and people can actually look at that and click, and they'll actually take that. If people click on that listing, it'll take them not to your website, it'll take them to a Google Your Business or Google My Business listing. And it's all connected to Google Maps and Google Plus, Google Business. So you can have a Google Business listing, and this is where it's appearing. On the listing, it takes you off onto your own website as well, plus other functionalities which we'll walk through when I do the live search. You can see the More button there, and so it'll show you 3, which would be ideally where you want to be, but somebody may click on that and it'll take you to a whole list of, in this case, accommodation places in Sydney. And again, they're ranked with certain algorithms and certain reasons why they're put to the top or the bottom, but you get a whole list of map listings and Google My Business listings of local accommodation providers. So that is a really good place to be, and you need to optimise for that. We've got some cheat sheets included in this particular module that'll actually help you claim ownership of that. And I'll show you in the live search about how to optimise for that and how to claim your listing if you haven't claimed it already. So that's the first two sections, paid advertising and Google local search. And then the area below that is basically just the rest of the organic search results. So as you see there in position 8, once upon a time, that used to be position 1. So the whole concept of Google and any search engine is, put a search term or search query in, and we'll provide you a list of most relevant websites. And here they are. But over time, these other functionalities have come in from paid advertising, local search results, and now the first organic listing is actually the 8th. So if you're relying purely on SEO and nothing else, the best you can be is below the fold in 8th position. So it's not ideal, but we don't have a lot of control over that. But it's important to understand what's happening here. But again, you need to be really good at SEO, do your best efforts, but probably don't have to overthink it either, because if your suburb is so big and popular, well, you're probably going to get flooded by the big boys in town. So I'll do the live search and we'll go through and you'll see who's been populated in that organic search section, and I guarantee you, you'll find 9 times out of 10 it'll be the big boys. So it is hard to get on first page of Google. Our hack out of all of this is that the best place for you to try and attack is the Google local search area. You'll be optimised for that, claim your listing, optimise and be popular, get reviews happening, all that sort of thing. It will all help to raise your rankings and get you up in that listing, and hopefully become part of that 3-pack that we, to me, that's the coveted spot and the biggest opportunity amongst all of it.